Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, our weekly look at all things Hong Kong racing, with a little glimpse towards the world racing as well. And we do it with the best form analyst in Hong Kong in Clint Hutchison and the Hall of Fame jockey in Raymond Shane Dye, the golden one. Good to see you, Hutch.
And you too, Richo. Yeah, what a week it was. Fantastic weekend for all of us last weekend. Lots of good racing, lots of talking points. And I like the meeting on the weekend as well. We've got, a feature Group 1 sprint on the cards, which we're going to run through in some depth, hopefully find the winner. And I reckon there could be a good prize winner in that as well, so stay tuned.
Hello, Golden Boy. You've been breaking hearts this week as always?
I've been working hard trying to get everything done for the show. It's not easy, mate, when you're a one-man show or one-man band, as you call it.
Mate, you're an outstanding one-man band. How do you reflect on the week that was? We'll dissect it all in action, but by gee, Voyage Bubble was fantastic.
I think it was Vincent Ho's fall. It was shocking, the fall, and I hope he's all right. And I've got no doubt he's done damage to his back. That's the first thing you can see when he fell. Voyage Bubble was sensational. Once again, he looked like winning, and James gave him a perfect ride. And racing last week was outstanding. A lot of nice young horses, and they went to the next level. And Dirt on Wednesday night was just a dirt meeting, and looking forward to this weekend.
It's going to be an absolute beauty. Well, let's have a look back at the highlights of last week.
Stewards Cup is always a great race every year. It's a shame that no Golden 60. But who was second to in December was Voyage Bubble, and he's the horse to beat.
I think Voyage Bubble wins.
It's Voyage Bubble in front, half a length over Beauty Eternal, then Beauty Joy. Voyage Bubble, though, he is going well. He is going to win the Stewards Cup.
The last race actually got a great chance here with Storm Rider, who's up in class. Gee, it was an impressive second start. He ran on Hong Kong International Day as well for debut. And
2 lengths on the year, they're not making an impression. Silver Up's there for minor money. Storm Rider's going to give Purton a treble.
Of course, after he won, David was like, well, you could ride him next time, you get your weight. But I was already sort of booked for Mugen, and I'm happy to stay with Mugen.
Leader is Superb Boy. Mugen's coming though. Attala Big Eel runs on. Mugen's the one. He has high speed, high straight line speed, and he's too good.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Great tipping performance last week, and love that insight from Karras and the call as well. Mugen,
yeah, from Mark McNamara. That was great. Of course, that race actually featured a horse that didn't step that well out of the gate.
What is going on? Global Harmony, the horse's name.
So we got the end part right, Mark, but with Global Harmony, I mean, this was a crying shame. I mean, he just stood there, Shane. I don't want to say this because he's a very talented horse and did not take part.
Shane, what happens there? Give us some sort of insight as to if you know as a jockey.
It's only ever happened to me once at Randwick on a mare of Helen Page's years and years ago. And I'd won her previous start, and it was at a Randwick mile, and she was favourite. The gates opened. She just stood there. She would not move. People come around the front, the barrier attendants, and tried to pull her out of the gates, and she was just locked in there. Why she did it? She went back to the trials after that and jumped as good as gold. So I've got no idea. Even I ride them and don't know why they do it, but there's got to be some reason. I wish someone could tell me, because it's not the first time this has happened, not to this horse, but to other horses.
The most famous one ever is Chautauqua.
Yeah.
I mean, in Australia.
Just refused to go.
And he got into that habit and they couldn't get him out of it. So I'm just fingers crossed for David Hayes and the team that this horse won't get into that habit.
Yeah, because there's no attendant holding the horse, the gate's open. He just simply stands here.
He never did that when the gun went off. And
mate, I went on the B of the bang, let alone the G of the bang. Don't worry about that. I was off and gone.
I was actually quite happy because I thought it was a 2-horse race, Global Harmony and him, Mugen. And I backed Mugen. So throughout the race, I'm looking and I'm trying to find where's Global Harmony. And I didn't realise he hadn't jumped, but I couldn't see him in the run because I thought he's going to be back with Mugen and they'll finish over top of them. So it wasn't until after the race that I realised what had happened.
Well, when in doubt, back self-interest, and you made the money, and so did you, Hutch Buster. Yep. So beautifully played. Hey, we've got a huge show coming up. We're going to burst out of the gates in a moment. Hutch's Sid file, they're always great to follow. Genius or Slaughter, and a very special guest, a young gun called Lyle Hewitson. Always terrific to chat to him. He's not going to look at his rides in Hong Kong, but he's also going to cast his eye over to South Africa because it's a whirlpool meeting there at the Cape meeting. So really looking forward to that. Should be a beauty. First, let's burst out of the gates. We burst out of the gates with all the latest news, and Shane raised this issue in regards to Vincent Ho, who we love dearly and respect so much. He had a serious fall. Any update on how he is?
Not the extent of the injuries. The club have put out a brief statement with some detail, but in terms of what has actually happened with Vincent physically, we don't know just yet. But look, it was hard to get back to sleep on Wednesday night after watching that fall. It looked absolutely horrific. And Shane, when you see that, you're just happy that they're okay after such an incident.
I would say he's done damage to his back, Clint. I don't know, and I'm guessing. The club hasn't put anything out, as you said. Now, when you fall like that, and I've watched it closely with a vest on, the vest actually jars your back, even though they say they don't. They do. I've ridden them with them. I've had them on. I know what it's like. He's done damage to his back for sure, and one of the reasons is the vest. It just jars your back, and I would say he's got a fractured or broken vertebrae or something like that when I've watched the fall, but I don't know, I'm guessing. Also, you've got to remember, Clint, he had that bad fall 6 months ago where he fractured 2 vertebrae, and when you've done that once, that can reoccur and you do them again. So I'm just glad he's alive, because when you saw that fall, it was that bad that he could have been seriously damaged.
Get well soon, Vincent. We're all thinking of you at the moment. Let's think about more a positive note, and that was the great ride from James McDonald, who wins another Group 1 internationally. He's just a brilliant rider, and this was a peach on Voyage Bubble.
Yeah, and he's like you said, there wasn't too many worrying moments if you backed him. He drew well, the horse jumped beautifully, but I like the way that he let him stride early and just made a couple around him sort of make some decisions. Hugh had to kick up. Then Zach was he couldn't really go back once he bounced his horse, then had him there, and James just had the run of the race. And Shane, the part that I loved about the ride, apart from that first 100, was when he just slid up nicely at about the 650 out, and he put him into the race to say, well, I'm on the best horse here. I'm not going to be held up. I'm going to allow myself to build into the race when I need to, and Voyage Bubble to do the rest.
Perfect ride. He did everything that you thought he would do before the race. He was too good for them. The thing that told from the race was California Spangle's not the same horse. But the best horse won the race. There was no excuse for Beauty Eternal. So Russian Empire ran all right, Clint. He got back and ran on a bit. So when the races get further, he might be a force to reckon with.
Yeah, he ran okay. I was disappointed in Straight Aaron. He got the back there, and Vincent's just coming out off heels. I thought he'd be strong at the finish, and he wasn't.
Didn't he pull up with an excuse, mucus or blood or something?
So that was one factor. That
He's better at 2,000 metres.
He is better at 2,000.
What about Voyage Bubble? It was interesting listening to all the postscript on Voyage Bubble, and including James's postscript. It's all about, no, I think we should keep him at a mile. Would you keep him at a mile, or would you go and eyeball Romantic Warrior at 2,000?
No, I mean, he was so good in the Derby when winning, and of course we were all sort of thinking on the day had a Beauty Eternal not win with the run he had, but Voyage Bubble did it there, and he did it again here, and he is that, behind Golden 60, he looks as good as a model that they've got at the moment. So I'm not sure. I mean, James won't want them to clash.
No, of course
it's well
not.
played by James.
No, but he actually said it straight out. He goes, I don't think they should clash because I'm committed to Romantic Warrior.
And he can see that Voyage Bubble's could potentially be dominant Shane over that mile. So he could have all the aces up his sleeve.
The new Golden 60.
Yeah.
Well, what you got to remember also is Golden 60 might have problems, or he has got problems. He didn't run the other day in that race because of a problem. He is 8 years old, and once you start getting problems at 8 years old, it's harder to come back from. So it'll be interesting to see where Golden 60 goes from here.
Yeah, and talking about James McDonald, what about the little battle? Zach Purton a treble, J-Mac a double, Huey Bowman a double as well. But what about Purton versus J-Mac in Wonderbar? versus Kah Ying Rising.
It was a great day for Zach. I mean, he had 3 winners, and this was obviously early in the day. Jamie Riches for Jamie Riches. He's having a good little run. So all 3 riders are riding at the top of their game.
Good.
Zach was great. He was in good form. I think tactically, though, J-Mac got it just spot on here. He helped, like Zach sort of worked a little bit early. I didn't think this would be the map. He ended up back on the fence, and J-Mac sort of let him cross and then came to his outside. To see these 2 horses go toe-to-toe down the straight with 2 fantastic riders, Shane and J-Mac and Zach, was a real treat. But, J-Mac came out on top again here.
Oh, definitely, 100%. He used Zach in the race. Zach should have just gone to the fence. If he made his mind up he was going to lead, he had to lead. And he didn't, and that's what cost him the race. It allowed James to go up inside and make him work, and then he just come around him when he wanted him, and he was too strong. I'm not convinced the winner's a better horse than the second horse, though. Not a hope in the world I am.
No, there's been that much between them. Yeah. They've met twice, and, the bob of the head beat him the time before. But, they're both very nice sprinters on the way up, and we're looking for that next generation, and there's nothing between them. And, I think those 2 are going to stand up going forward. Yeah,
and Jamie Richards, a double on the dirt as well, so he continues to make ground, and the more and more he gets acclimatised to the Hong Kong racing system, the better he'll go.
This was a pickup ride for Hugh. Of course, Zach was indisposed early in the night, and Magniac actually hit the line really well. This is his right trip, and I think this gives Jamie some options now on the dirt with Magniac. But Jamie had 33 winners in his rookie season. Great season. He would have been disappointed after the first couple of months of this particular campaign, I think, with the numbers of winners that he had, but he's kicking into gear now, so let's hope he can finish strong.
And let's have a look at the championship leaderboard at the moment, and Pierre with 45. So 21 behind is John Sai's RS Die. Is Pierre got him now?
Well, it's the same system. When you're 21 winners ahead and you've got the same system as the other trainer, it's going to be very hard for him to pick him up.
Yeah.
I don't think he will now. No. These horses of his are racing very well, and they're going to stay in form. They're just going to, because John's horses stay in form when they get in form. And if he's using that system, as I said here a week ago, he'll keep having winners. And you've seen what Moogle did on the weekend. He's another one. He's got Galaxy Bay, I think, isn't it? Galaxy Bay,
Patch.
Yep. Galaxy Patch, who's a very nice horse, very similar to Moogle, same type of horse, same rating and everything. He's got a lot of horses like that. So he looks like winning the premiership at this stage. It needs a miracle from someone.
And Zach Purton leads by 15 over Karis Teaton and by 25 over Jay Bowman. So Zach's going beautifully there with sure 55. Is. And talking in other news, this Saturday in Victoria will be the last Saturday that Dave Eustace, and not just Victoria but in around Australia, Dave Eustace in partnership with Kieran Maher, and then Dave says, get ready, make my way over to Hong Kong, start to set up my system, takes away his partner with him and set up for a new life in Hong Kong.
Smart move going early. I think, you're going to have to go there, canvass some owners, try and get your support. So I think he's doing the right thing. Here he is with KL Cheng walking the track, of course, one of the executive team in Hong Kong. So, good luck to Dave. And got another name that we are familiar with on the training ranks. I mean, it's really the landscape in Hong Kong in the last few years, Shane, has changed quite a bit, both training and jockey-wise.
It really has, and the trainers can change again next season with a few of these boys they've got to get to the 17 or 16 wins and they're struggling.
Yeah, so watch this space, but Dave Eustace, of course, will be a special part of the Triple Trio.
Oh, no doubt.
Whether he likes it or not. Let's find out who jumped into the black book. We call it the Sid File.
They're off, and Sugar missed the start by 4 lengths. Then Dublin Star, Sugar Fast Buck, smart leader. Oversubscribed, lunges at the post, missed. Sugar, that's a sweet win for Alfie Chad.
Our black bookers are called Sweet in Defeat, the Sid File for Hutchbuster. Who jumps in?
Yep, 3 from the last week of racing. Richo to follow and put down in your black books going forward. California Totality is 1. clear excuses for him. I thought Jazz Club was pretty good down the straight. This horse is rated 41. I would have loved if they had dropped him into Class 5 because he would have been winning there, but he might be able to pinch a Class 4 race at a price. And Super Goldie's a lightly raced horse going forward, and he's definitely worth following. He stuck to his guns nicely. We'll look at a replay with California Totality. Now, there was just an incident prior to the turn there, and it just knocked half the field out of it, and California Totality was certainly pretty badly hampered there, Shane, so clear excuses for him. But look, I like the race overall, and I think he's a horse that's not far away from a win.
Yeah, well, I think he's had 3 runs and he's placed before. All of his runs have been good. Naturally, he gets back. He's always going to get back a bit until he steps up over a mile and he might race closer, but he looks as though he'll go further for sure, and he looks as though he's a winner waiting to happen.
Jazz Club as well, and Super
Jazz
Goldie.
Club and Super Goldie, the other two.
Okay, so 3 jump.
Jazz Club's changed stables and has improved 100 yards. It's just gone to another level on his previous form.
So, do you have any Jazz Clubs up on the Gold Coast, Shane?
Oh, please.
You managed to, I know you go to a few clubs.
Well, he owns a few.
Any Jazz Clubs up there?
Probably would be, but I don't go to him. Don't ask me. I wouldn't have.
That's a different generation. The people that go there are a little too old.
Yes.
I can't dance at the best of times, so I don't think I'll be jazzing, boys.
Oh, I could just see him.
Cutting shapes.
Oh, I could just see it. Genius or Slaughter time with the Golden Boys.
The end across, answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
Time for the Hong Kong jockeys to sit up and take notice. The Golden Boys cast his eye over the rides of the last week. Genius or Slaughter? We're in your hands, Golden.
I'm going to show you something here where a jockey rides a particular race very well, and it's Huey Bowman in a 1,000-metre race. And he always does this, and he wins the race at the start normally. If you have a look at a lot of his horses like Invincible Stage, We Are Hero, they just jump out of the ground for him. Now he gets back here and he doesn't use any horse in a 1,000-metre race early. He just comes out of the gates and relaxes them and lets them get into his stride, which you can see. And he does this every time in a 1,000-metre race. But what he does is when he commits to going for runs, he goes for them. And it's always hard to get runs when you're that far back. And it looks as though that he's going to run out of room at about the 250, but he starts to come here, you'll see, and he sees it's going to close, but he waits and he's coming and he's trying to get his horse wound up. And now he just switches one horse round, he says, let's go. And it's not much of a run, but I've seen this so many times from him. He commits and then late they get there. He rides the 1,000 metres straight better than anyone I've seen. He's outstanding up the straight. So I thought that was an outstanding ride. There were a lot of very good rides on the weekend, Clint, last weekend, a lot of great rides, and even Wednesday night, and we've got a list here.
I concur with what you said about Hugh down the straight. He was the same at Flemington here down the straight, and I haven't seen a better 1,000-metre straight course rider than him. He is on a different, sort of plane to the rest of them, and he does it like Shane said in that sort of manner. And he seems to find the gaps, Shane, which a lot of them, some riders just don't find them. But anyway, he's.
But you know why he finds the gaps?
Because he can read a race a fair way out.
No, because he's so far back. When you're further back, the runs open up and you know that they're coming. When you're running fourth, fifth, 3 back the fence, you have to wait and you're running over their heels. But when you're back in the field and you're coming into the race, they open up at the furlong at the right time, and you can see that happening, right? So that's why when you're further back, it's easier to get runs than when you're running 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. It's far easier. If we put that list up there with the rides for the weekend, I'll go through a few.
Yeah, go for it.
Zach just put everything in the first 3, rode 3 winners. Karras last week, we brought out that he was riding very well, especially I said from the 800 to the 600. Go and watch him on Moogle. Outstanding ride, just outstanding. He went to come out at the top of the straight, no run, kept it balanced, come back in. And he's too good. I love that horse. He's one of my favourite horses. Hamlin, outstanding ride on Natural Storm, and he rode 2 big winners. The one, Blissful Star, only won the last stride, gave it a perfect ride. Natural Storm never left the fence, come through them, 50-1 won. Now, last week I brought up Andrea. that he was riding a lot of winners. He seems to ride a winner a meeting. Go and have a look at his ride on So We Joy from gate 11. Ended up midfield to back fence, saved ground, come out, saved it for one run and got up. It was an outstanding ride. And the other horse was Angus.
Yeah.
All for St. Paul's. Well, every jock gave him the race. When that horse leads and they're walking like that, you're not going to beat him. They just gave it to him. So it was a great ride. He gets to the front. He pulls them up, goes to 29, I think. You can't beat that horse when he leads like that, especially on the dirt, because you can run, even though he doesn't run 1,800, on the dirt you can run 1,800 when you get a lead like that. So great ride. There were a lot of very good rides.
It was a good ride from him. I reckon you should have taken one off the others in that race, Shane, because
no negative.
they let him get away with murder in front there. It was incredible. But anyway, that's another matter.
No negatives at all, Golden?
Nothing stood out when I was watching them, so now the boys rest easy for another week.
Zach Purton leads by 1 over Hugh Bowman, and a nice move there to Karis Teeton. He moves to 11, which would please Xavier immensely because she's desperate for Karis to win that wonderful trophy, the Idol.
Absolutely. I've got to say a special mention, as Shane mentioned there, to Antoine Hamlin. Doesn't get a lot of chances, and I agree with what Shane said there. When he's been given an opportunity, he's often producing what he needs to, but he's a bit like Luke. A couple of those guys on that next couple of tiers down aren't getting a lot of opportunities, but he's been handed a few recently and he's taken them, so hopefully it can build for him.
I'll tell you one thing about Hamlin. He's very strong in a finish, Clint. He's one of the strongest there is. He's good in a finish.
And we are, of course, battling out for racing's greatest prize, the Idol. At the moment, Zachary leading by 1 over Hubert. So
it's up for grabs.
Purton versus Bowman for racing's greatest prize, which is up there with the Golden Globes, the Logies.
All of the above.
The Academy Award. It is one of the world's great trophies.
It is
the Idol.
To be fair to it too, I didn't include James because he's not a regular. There's some rides this season.
Well, hang on. You've got to see.
You've got to get votes.
You've got to get votes. I mean, if Jamie Kah on Sunday rides the best out of anyone, she gets votes because she takes votes off others.
Yeah. Well, Shane's... Look,
it's his
I'm not arguing with Shane.
Hong Kong jockeys that are there.
Okay. Well, it's your award.
Okay, well, it's your Idol with an asterisk now. That's
Sounds
fine.
like it's going to be taken away from me at the end of this year and readdressed.
Well, keep pulling up your socks. Well done there. We pivot and talk about the long road to the Hong Kong Derby. The road to the Hong Kong Derby, and Karis Teeton gave us some heads up last week, which has had ramifications.
Yeah, with Galaxy Patch, and they've decided not to go, and it has really impacted, I think, the structure of the race. And while he's a real talent, I think they've probably made the right call, given his efforts over the 1,200, and it would have been too rushed. But this is the list that we're left with going forward to
the Classic Mile,
the first leg of the the 4-year-old series in the Classic Mile, and. We have the highest rated horse in Helios Express, but it's a pretty sort of good year in terms of the quality, I think. And I don't think there's a spread, as I said last week, from top to bottom as there has been in other years where there's been one or two standouts. I'm not sure that'll be the case here, Shane.
It's a standout. Helios Express wins. He won't be getting beat on his last run. It's just a one-horse race as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, okay. We should just run it. Just give it to him now, Helios Express.
Might as well. He'll be winning.
But I think the Derby's a different ball game altogether, personally.
Derby's a long way away.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Derby. He'll be $1.50, $1.60 in the $1.60, I'd say, in the Classic Mile.
Well, this is the rating with what I'm left in the actual whole Derby itself. I mean, Helene.
This is a moving feast for those that don't realise. Each and every week, Hutchi reanalyses the Hong Kong Derby and puts his rankings together.
These are my rankings based on their peak performance, and it's over a variety of distances. So Helene Feeling's got an 1,800 number, Helios over a mile. How Deep Is Your Love? He won't get the trip, but he's only a length or so off. But there's a lot of moving parts in this race. The horse that I think's got a massive chance in it, and he's got a rating of 74, is Fallon, and he hasn't put a number up yet, but he will. We get to see Araki Summit this weekend. And he's another one that's really gone up the list. And the surprise packet here, and is an international sale graduate, could be Lean Hero. He ran a very good time at the Valley in one meeting. He's only got a official Hong Kong rating of 72, so he's going to have to do something to get into the field. But I'll tell you what horse will figure in the finish, no matter what has ensued.
Yeah.
He's on a mark of 85. He's proven over the trip, and he's right in the game in the Derby. But yeah, those are off peak performances, weight adjusted, and each week we'll just move them around depending on what horses we see.
Can I ask you about Dream Winner? So Dream Winner's in the Classic Mile. Can we run the G1 Gold Mine lens over it to see whether maybe at the mile first?
I'm just surprised that we see a lot of owners enter to the Derby because they want a Derby run-up, but I am surprised to see him in this series. His pedigree says, according to the analytics with Group 1 Gold Mine, 1,400 big bubble, and then it really sort of deteriorates, and he looks like a sprinter, and he's not in great form. Like, he's got the rating. His debut figure was off the charts good. He ran an incredible time, but it was a sprint race, and I really question, Shane, whether or not, he won't get a mile.
He's not going to run a mile. He's lost a leg, that horse. He hasn't gone on with his first two or three runs for some unknown reason. He did look very, very good. So there's actually, I read this morning, there's already 4 or 5 out of the mile. So they had 15 nominated, and I think they were saying that's back to 11 already. So
anyone who's been lucky enough to meet your wife, the beautiful Amy, knows that the great adage that behind every great man is an even better woman. Can I add Germaine Hall to that list?
Yes.
The wife of David Hall. Nicole Purton is back. She's a little injured. We still love her, and she caught up with Germaine Hall.
Germaine Hall is used to the bright lights being on her, but how did she make the leap from the catwalk to the birdcage? And what's it like being married to a Melbourne Cup winning trainer? Germaine, what was the experience of being in Miss Hong Kong like?
Wow, I can't believe that was like 15 years ago. That was very glamorous, of course, and I must say that was the best time of my life. And to be honest, I entered Miss Hong Kong, didn't think that it was just sort of for fun,
And was there any aspiration to continue down that path?
After getting first runner-up, I got to represent Hong Kong to participate in Miss International. So that was a whole next level of pageant because there are girls from all around the world, and that was really eye-opening experience.
And how did racing fit into your life at that stage?
My parents at that time had a syndicate horse, and so I would from time to time go racing with them.
You're married to David Hall, a Melbourne Cup winning trainer from Australia. How did your lifestyle change, or did it stay the same once you guys got married?
I think being in the racing world, of course, David has to get up really early for track work and everything. So that's one thing that I had to get used to. And then I think one of the major cultural differences also Chinese tends to get up a little bit later and then we sleep later, whereas Australians, they like to enjoy the sun, so they're up early, get going, and then in bed early. So I think that I've tried to adapt, and I quite enjoy getting up early now, especially I have kids now.
Yeah, the kids aren't letting you sleep in. And the shops don't open here till like 11 in the morning.
Exactly, whereas in Australia, they open at 9 o'clock sharp.
Everyone's waiting. And what are the attractions of horse racing for you now?
Well, I love going racing, dressing up, and then because it's every event is different, and I love that part of racing. I love Sasa Day, and then internationals are coming up, so I need to go shopping.
And you said before that you used to go racing with your family, but the rules have now changed, which means kids can come. And I know we go to the races together with the children. How is Hunter enjoying that process?
Oh, he's loving it. He loves the whole setup. And then I appreciate that from Jockey Club as well, to invite kids, because they get to see your husband and my husband, what they're doing, and then what our life is about. So I thought that was very important, very good of Jockey Club to do that.
And I know Hunter loves getting in a winning photo.
He loves it. Who doesn't? I love it.
Mixed culture kids are commonplace in Hong Kong.
How important will it be for you and David to make sure your kids understand their family heritage?
It's very important for us, and then David and I are very respectful of each other's cultural differences, and then so in Hong Kong, like our family, we care a lot about Chinese New Year, so we try to make it a big thing in our family for Hunter to understand our history.
What are some of the cultural things that are different that you've noted between a Chinese and an Australian?
There are a lot of cultural differences, but actually I studied overseas and David has been in Hong Kong for so long, so I think we have come in sort of like a medium. But I think one thing that's very mind-boggling for me is I just can't get my head around, Australians, when they go to a playground or park or backyard, they don't like wearing shoes. But then entering the house or indoor, they insist having their shoes on, which I just don't understand. I just don't, because we're complete opposite on that part, which we still are, but that's just the one thing that I will never understand.
Love that.
Oh, I love it. It's a good question. Are you a shoes on or shoes off sort of guy, Hutch?
I hate to say it, but I'm a kind of shoes on
At home?
guy at home. Yeah.
Right.
I don't have them all sitting out the front of the door or
No.
take them off when you get in. No, Germaine's right.
RS, are you a shoes on sort of guy? I know you're a pants off sort of guy.
Please. I've never, ever had shoes on in a house, ever. No, definitely not. They come straight off. As soon as I walk into my house or unit or whatever,
Yeah.
first thing I do is take the shoes off, always. It doesn't matter where I live.
All right, and your
No, I keep my shoes on.
Yeah, nice.
And the
All right,
pants.
Yeah.
Keep my shoes on. Hey, there's nothing dirty about the bottom of my feet. I'll keep them crystal clean, mate. They make their way into their beautiful Mercedes-Benz Melbourne, and it's just so clean in there.
Exactly.
Why would I take those bad boys off? Let's talk global racing. Let's talk all thing world racing with a global lens. And Rachel King was fantastic during the international meeting in Hong Kong, winning a leg of the International Jockey Championship. That was fantastic, actually being on the podium at the end. She's continued a good form in Japan.
Yeah, and she was, of course, in the jockey series prior to the Hong Kong, the IJC last December, and hit the podium there as well.
In Japan, yeah.
But first lady female to ride a stakes winner in Japan.
Brilliant.
Shane, so, she keeps she's getting opportunities, but we're talking about jockeys taking their opportunities when they get them, and she is certainly doing that.
It's fantastic. It's really good to see, and she was a joy to have in Hong Kong. She loved it, but she loves racing, you can tell that. I'm sure she would have got a kick from that. But if you go to Japan with the right stable, you're riding pretty good horses all the time, like Damien Laners. When Joe went, they were with the right stable, and you've always got that opportunity. So it's great to see.
And we're claiming her as an Australian, even though, she's English.
She does have an English suffix, but we still...
Mate, you've got to claim them because you wouldn't have any jockeys there. Like, look at Sid.
Oh, here we
Shots
go.
fired from
K1.
K1.
Listen, little K1W1 popping his little head up.
Oh, shots fired.
Collett, he's second, isn't he? Or is he not? I don't know.
Yeah, Jason Collett, Aussie Jace.
Yeah.
He's going well in the, we just marvel at Aussie Jimmy, as we call him, James McDonald.
We get rough diamonds over here, Shane, and we just
we polish them.
Yeah, polish them and just make them more of a refined.
I'll tell you something now. What are you talking about? James is a country boy. He come to Australia, went to Sydney, and you's corrupted him. He got charged.
Gone to another level.
James is one jockey that does nothing wrong. He's a real goody-good, and here he is getting charged.
Yeah, that was
oh my God.
that was
You's
the week.
corrupted him.
That was the week he went back home to NZ. Talking about greats, Equinox appropriately named the best horse in the world.
Oh, yeah, it was. And this was, I saw these awards, actually, it was live streamed as well. The World Horse Racing put a stream out. So Winfred was there handing out the awards, and the trainer spoke glowingly, and Christoph. I mean, their love of this horse was, palatable. Yeah, on their post and their comments, and he's just an absolute superstar. It was actually really interesting, Shane, listening to the trainer. He was saying about what made him so great. It was a blend of his temperament, how smart he was, his physique, and how economical he was in his action and, you know, his stride. So it was a really, you know, we often can get generalisations with horses, but he spoke in a different manner to what I'm used to hearing.
Boys, it must have taken them a while to sit around the table and work out he was the best horse in the world, didn't it?
Allocated an hour for the discussion. It went 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It went 10 seconds. What a horse. As we've said on the show before, they're once in a generation. I've seen three, I think, him, Frankel, and Flightline, whatever it was, Flightline from America. I know Winx was a superstar in Australia, and I'm not knocking her. She was. She's an amazing horse. But when it comes to these horses, they're on a different level, those three.
Just incredible Equinox. We look forward to seeing progeny of Equinox into the future. How's your South African form? Because we've got a World Pool meeting coming up in South Africa. Are you any good in this area?
No, I'm not, and we find experts in that area.
And what expert have we got this week?
We have Lyle Hewitson.
Fantastic. Our star power guest, Lyle Hewitson. Well, our very special guest is going to be our form analyst for this segment. I'm very much looking forward to chatting to him. World Pool meeting over in South Africa at Kenilworth in South Africa. So we thought we would better touch base with Lyle Hewitson to give us the great analysis. Hey, Lyle, as always, mate, brilliant to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thanks for having me on the show again. Look forward to chatting, and sure it'll be a good one.
Yeah, tell us about Met Day at Kenilworth, how big it is.
Yeah, Met Day is obviously one of our biggest days in South Africa. Probably is maybe the equivalent of our December international races here in Hong Kong. So it's the pinnacle of the Cape season, and one that everyone looks to bring out the big guns and have good success.
Did you have a lot of success there as a youngster?
I got a lot of the races on the undercard, but never managed to pull off the Met. Did well in the lead-up races, but I'll definitely look to go back and try to put that one on my CV in the future.
Is there anything to note, like with the track, any sort of thing? You know, is there one side of the track that can be better than the other, or any general things to look at, or is it usually just on the day thing?
I would say it's probably more on the day, although it seems that sort of this time of year in the Cape that they seem to be coming a lot more down the middle and fanning towards the outside. So I think that's something to keep in note, is that they will probably be making the runs middle to outside. But also the straight course and the race around the bend are two different tracks completely. So you're going to have to factor that in when looking at the 1,000, 1,200 meter races compared to 14 and further. So, but yeah, it's a left-hand bend, which is different to most of the other tracks in South Africa, which throws a span in the works for some of the travelling horses. But it's a lovely fair track.
And Lyle, tell us about, like, for you as a South African jockey, we've seen a lot of the Australian jockeys, say Hugh Bowman or Zach Purton, jump on a plane, come back to Australia riding Group 1s and then get back to Hong Kong. Can you do that? Can you get back to South Africa, or the time doesn't allow?
The time doesn't allow, otherwise would have done that in a heartbeat. But it's a long travel over there. And then with the time difference on top of that, by the time you're getting on a plane, races are already kicking off here. So unfortunately, you know, Hong Kong racing takes precedent, and yeah, maybe there will be a meeting somewhere down the line where we can go down, hopefully. But at this stage, it just doesn't work out time-wise.
Or we'll just have to find you some rides in Australia, Lyle.
Even better, please do.
Even better. Well, we need your analysis if you can, because a lot of our punters love betting into the World Pool. Yeah. That's the beauty of it, is that meetings like this, suddenly for Hong Kong, Australian punters and like, can all bet into the World Pool. Big pools there, great liquidity, so we're keen to get your insight. Can we start with the first of the Group 1s, 1,000 metres, the flying? Give us an insight here.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much down to two horses on paper at least, a horse called Thunderstruck and a horse called Isivungu Vungu. Funny enough, both of them have relations to thunder. Obviously, Thunderstruck, and Isivungu Vungu is the Zulu word for, I think, thunder, something along those lines. So quite interesting in that fact. But last time they met, Thunderstruck was into his prep already, was getting weight from Isivungu Vungu, and managed to beat him half a length, I think it was. Whereas this time round, it'll be level weight. Isivungu Vungu's had the prep run as well, and this is his pet trip too. So I think he's going to be the horse to beat with Richard Fourie aboard, and he's the leading sprinter in South Africa at the same time. So he's certainly the leading light in that race.
Lyle, I'm glad that you pronounced the name Ishi Vungu Vungu, because when I saw the name on our run sheet, all I saw was letters. It was a bit like...
And I straight away picked up it was Isi Vunga Vunga.
And I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm staying out of it, boys.
Shane, I would love your pronunciation of Isi Vunga Vunga.
Which race?
Mate, I've got my South African accent nice and tight there for Isi Vunga Vunga. I like the sound of that, and I'm going to have a bet on that, definitely on the back of that. The Majorca Stakes, tell us about this race.
Yeah, interesting. Princess Keller's been the leading mare for the past couple of seasons, and she's really good. I had a bit to do with her as well when I was in South Africa, and she's a smart horse. Can win from 1,000 to 1,800, you know. So that normally takes a talented one. There's a younger horse in the race that's been sort of looking to take over the mantle. It's the daughter of Beach Beauty. I think it's called Beach Bomb, and she beat Princess Keller last time. However, I think Princess Keller isn't at her best over 1,800, especially not a Kenilworth 1,800 with the longer, more testing straight. So the drop back will be in her favour. She's also hard and fit, and she's had the run in the Cape now. And I think this time I'd be leaning towards Princess Keller with her experience, the trip, and the run under the belt. She could just probably get one over the younger horses, but I think it will be an interesting race. And once again, I think those two horses, Beach Bomb and Princess Keller, stand out.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yep.
This is on my bucket list. We could put this as one of our stops on the Triple Trio tours.
Yeah,
I think you certainly should, and it's actually a great day. And in all the centres in South Africa, I mean, the racing is great. Unfortunately, we don't have the money to make racing a big thing, but Cape racing of all the centres has really blossomed over the past 18 months, and the people in charge have taken over are doing great things. So I think next year it'll be even better, and if it can be on your list, I think you should definitely
we're going, Lyle. We're going, Lyle, and if we can get you there, that'd be even better.
Perfect.
Clint, one thing.
Perfect.
You're an international owner, aren't you now?
Kind of.
Yeah, well, you had that big win in Perth and everything. Have you got a share in Horse 3 in that race?
Oh, what's it called?
What's it called, Shane?
What's it called?
Give me a shot.
Oh, yeah, so.
How many people, Lyle, get along to this meeting?
Look, I mean, I'd be guessing it would be a quiet night at Happy Valley, most likely. But you know, for Cape racing, this and Queen's Plate Day are the two standout days. So if you're going to take face value of a vibe and public attendance, this will definitely be the big one.
The Triple Trio tours will be going there one day. Tell us about the Met. Who do you think can win?
The betting is also going to be very biased here. It's a one horse race. On paper, you know, I know races aren't run on paper, but this horse, See It Again, is probably the best horse in South Africa. Last time got beaten by, you know, they've been taking each other on. Charles Dickens, who's the best miler by far. So I think that with him out the race, all roads lead to See It Again, and I don't see the draw being a factor because he's even better held up. So I think Pierre Stratum, he's extended his retirement just to stick with this horse through his career, and I make him much the horse to beat. That looks like they're running for second.
It's interesting that Pierre's riding. Of course, he rode in Hong Kong for a few years. I think Basil was there at the time, Basil Marcus, and the two of them used to go toe to toe. This is even pre-Shane days, but you know, there's always been that strong connection with the South African riders.
Pre-Shane days. Yeah. What, before the ball walked?
He must be getting... How old is he, Lyle?
I reckon he's about 55 now.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good age, apparently, Shane.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
I've been there, done that.
I tell you what, Lyle, your form analysis is
great.
being met. Hutch, you're sitting there shaking in your boots.
Step aside.
because as soon as Lyle's finished, he might be into this chair into the future.
No doubt.
Okay, that is a brilliant analysis of what's going on for the World Pool Meeting. Hey, can we stop now and talk some Hong Kong racing with you, mate? How do you see the season? We were great to catch up with you in December. What's been happening since?
Yeah, look, the season in general, I think I can be pleased, but I'm not content because I would like to be doing a lot better. As we all would. It's been a little bit frustrating. What I'm really encouraged by is I've been getting support from more trainers and been getting a lot of rides. And there's definitely some quality thrown in between the slower ones too. So I can't complain about that. And that's only going to improve as we go further down the line. But nonetheless, it's been frustrating. I just wanted to get my head in front a few more times. But we just keep knocking at the door. And when it opens, hopefully a bit more of a floodgate comes through.
Yeah, well, it seems like you are getting really good support, and that's 3/4 of the battle as well, Lyle. So well done on that front. You're getting some nice rides. And look, I just looking at a couple of your rides on the weekend. Ironically, you've got nice numbers of rides, but not a great deal there. Although Diamond and Sweetbriar, those are two in particular I'd like to talk about, unless you can fill us in on some of the others. But firstly, Diamond, what did you make of his recent outing? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I was very pleased. We were quite happy to go the 14 at Sha Tin after his recent performances at Happy Valley, and it seemed to suit him. He's a horse that wants to be a little bit held up. I think that he's got a short dash and then sort of stays on. So, with a good draw means we don't have to go as far back, and we can sort of just hold a decent spot where when we're ready to pounce, we can. So stepping up to the mile, initially, I had a little bit of reservation about that, but just looking at, his breeding, it suggests he can. And as long as I've got him relaxed in the first half, well, then he should be able to quicken up better than some of these Class 5 milers. So, he's definitely a chance.
Wasn't easy to sort of make ground out wider there where you were the other day either. I thought Diamond looked a good chance. Shane, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's got a chance. I was worried about the mile. He's had 2 goes at it and struggled both times, but from a good gate, and he's a bit stronger. Some of his Class 4 runs last year were all right. So he might be able to be running midfield. His run the other day was good. He's he's got a good draw. He's in Class 5 and his last run was good. So he'll get his chance to run well.
Yeah. Shane, what other rides of Lyle's are you interested in here?
As Clint said, the last race, Sweetbriar. It's not an easy race, but he's racing well, Lyle.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I thought that he was my best of my rides. Class 3 14s always seem to be the most competitive races, and I guess that's why they always happen to be race 10 in the card. It keeps people interested throughout the day. But he's just so honest, and over the 1400, he's got enough speed to put himself handy even from the awkward draw. But we have to respect a horse like Green and White and Beauty Fit who are racing really well. A couple others, of course, but I never doubt him. He's always there in the finish, and with a smooth run and a good tempo of the race, he's going to be very dangerous.
There'll be good tempo. Got amazing duck going forward. Araki Summit as well. Now, I want to ask you about Sweetbriar in particular and just a trait of his, Lyle, because I'm sure we haven't got to the bottom of him yet. He looks like a horse that just takes a little while to build his momentum, and I've seen a couple of times, you've landed in nice spots, but it just seems like it takes a while to pick that up. How do you combat that going forward?
Yeah, you've got it right. He's one of the worst workhorses. He doesn't get out of his own way in the morning, although you can feel his actions there. So it's hard to judge him in the morning, but in a race, he sort of can get on the bridle a little bit where he's not strong, but as soon as you come onto his mouth, he just starts to lift his head. So sometimes he looks a little bit ungenerous in the run where he doesn't feel it so much when you're on top. So he's a bit awkward in that sense. And then, like you say, once he's got a rhythm, he completely drops it on you and takes an age to build. But then again, he just doesn't stop giving once you've got him building up. I think he has improved with time, but especially at the beginning, it was if you sort of got to the open or front too early, he did wait for something to come at him again. And I think that's why we were always trying to just get there a little bit later and let him take his time. But now that he's got a bit stronger and a bit wiser, I think we can get a bit more stuck into him, get him building up those revs. And he's got a nice sustained run. And like I say, he's very tough under pressure.
So, Lyle, at the moment, you sit 7th on the Jockey Championship with 19 wins. But also, interestingly, horses that have finished second, third or fourth. Unbelievably, you've got 89 in that bracket. If you could have just converted a few of those over to wins, you might be sitting, say, fourth or fifth. What's the absolute target this season?
Yeah, well, that's where I was leaning towards. The frustrating part is a lot of those horses some of them have run above expectations, some of them have just been a bit unlucky, but there's a big heap, just behind that first place box where I'd like to be converting a bit more. I think I definitely wanted to pass last season's mark of 50 and still do. However, we have seen, with a lot more jockeys getting support, rides are being spread out more, and many people are having more winners or less winners. It's become a bit more balanced and a bit more competitive. So I do respect that, but I will still be hunting towards achieving what I did last season and hopefully surpassing that. And, we wouldn't mind a bit of feature race success in between.
Yeah, and if you can get into that top five, that is an outstanding achievement, mate. If this helps, we're barracking for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I remember mentioning to you when you were here for the Longines races that this show seems to bring jockeys a lot of luck. So hopefully, after chatting to you, we can really kick a few goals.
Yeah, you deserve it, Lyle.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I've tried to tell Shane, mate, we want to lock this youngster in every second week.
Yes.
Just to make sure that we keep getting him over the line, brother.
I'll take that.
I'm not spotting you for bad rides or whatever, so that's good.
No, that's right. You're looking after him.
But at the same time, there's not enough good ones in between either, so I need to pick up on that end.
Mate,
I need to get more idle points.
Yeah, exactly,
right,
mate.
Absolutely.
It's racing's greatest honour. Lyle, beautifully played. Good luck this weekend. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, guys. Always a pleasure. Chat to you soon.
Oh, isn't he brilliant? Lyle Hewitson, our special guest. Sha Tin, Sunday is the location for what should be a beauty because it's the Centenary Sprint Cup and Lucky Sweynesse gets a chance to prove yet again that he's the best in the business in Hong Kong.
He certainly does, and it's great to have Jamie Kah riding at the meeting as well, so that's an added bonus. And yeah, the feature race looks a beauty. Look, Lucky Sweynesse, he's going to be a lot shorter than I think with the market than what I've got him. I think he might be vulnerable this time around, and I'll explain why shortly, but 225, I'll mark him a clear favourite. I think Lucky With You is right in the game. He was second to Lucky Sweynesse in the Hong Kong Sprint in December. Wellington's got to be there or thereabouts. And the one that will be a big price, I think, can run a huge race is Sun Pak Fu. I'm expecting him to be probably triple that, if not bigger. Now, this is an interesting replay, Shane. I wanted to get your thoughts here. Lucky Sweynesse had the best run of the race. Lucky With You, though, he sort of was in two minds at the top of the straight. He did close down the margin very late, and there is a scenario where he could have made this very interesting in this race. But Lucky Sweynesse, deserves to be where he's at. But he was $1.30 this day, and I just don't think he's a $1.30 chance this time going around.
Yeah, you got to remember he pulled up with blood in the trachea, Clint, that day. You can add a couple of links there if that's the case to him. The second horse, of course, went really well, Lucky With You. And I thought he actually trialled better than the winner up the straight the other day.
Yep. Get on the Hong Kong Club
1,000 metres.
website. Check that trial out. Lucky With You was fantastic. Lucky Sweynesse was being niggled along. But this race here, Shane, the first 100 metres in this race will determine the winner. And I think Lucky Sweynesse is vulnerable. He's got a couple of horses around him in the map. Sun Pak Fu doesn't need to be that far back. A couple of these guys, if Jerry Chow wants to be not positive, but just hold his spot, I think Lucky With You jumps a lot better. The issue for Zach with Lucky Sweynesse is he doesn't step great out of the gates. This is a bigger field now. There's more speed in the race. He could be locked away here, and if they take advantage of it early, he's not going to land in the dream spot, which he did in the Hong Kong Sprint there, and other horses may. And I think how even the ranks are this year, it might bring him undone. And I just want to end with this, with him. He hasn't been at the level he was in the past. He's 2 lengths off where he was before. If he runs to those marks, he wins the race. He could probably, overcome some difficulty. But all season, he hasn't been there. And you look at the figures, they're not lying. So I just think it's an opportunity to bet around him.
Well, you know that Victor the Winner and Whiz Kid are going to come across and go pretty quick early, and it's just a matter whether Victor the Winner lets Whiz Kid go, who's not going to run 1200. He can't from gate 11. Sunpack Fu won't be forward, Clint. He'll get back a bit, I think. He races better off the pace. Super Wealthy, he can't go forward, so he's going to drop back. Now, Packing Treadmill, he can race up there, Clint. He's got the pace. He's got the pace to be third, so Zach's not going to find the fence from there, you wouldn't think. And Zach doesn't want the fence. He doesn't ride the fence anyway. He'll be off it. So he's not going to get snookered, you wouldn't think. It's just a matter of how well he jumps. I've got him on top, of course, but I think Lucky with You's really improved a lot. And his trial up the straight the other day was outstanding. And I actually thought he trialled better than the other horse. But it's a good race. I've still got Lucky on top from Lucky with You from Wellington.
Yeah, I just think it's an opportunity for Andrea at Zetty, and I don't agree with Sunpack Fu. He can be ridden reasonably cold from a low barrier and hold his spot. Like, he's been dragged out of these races. He doesn't need to be anywhere near that far back. We've seen him at the Valley jump, put himself in a spot and kick off it. So it's an opportunity for Jerry Chow against the big boys too. I hope they take it.
He actually used to lead, Clint.
Yeah.
Sunpack Fu. He could lead.
Got more than enough pace to hold that spot.
No, but he doesn't go as good when he's in front. He goes better when he's ridden off the pace. But if he wanted to, of course they can be running third.
But that's one view, the view that he might go better off the pace. What about if he can be as effective ridden and holding that spot and finish off like he is? What about the fact that he might be of an improved horse at the moment and he's been running incredibly well when set huge tasks? I mean, I think this is an opportunity to use your barrier and just hold a spot, like I said. So anyway, we've spoken about him, but I think genuinely, and you'll know after the race if he goes better ridden cold or not. The only thing he's got to do is bring the Valley form to Sha Tin. That's the little worry for me.
That's a worry. The other thing is this time in, he hasn't got the ratings to be winning it, you wouldn't think. But this time in, his first up run, he was ridden forward, if I remember correctly. And he ran second behind co-partner Ambition, I think it was. And then after that, because of the bad gates, they rode him back. And he was a different horse. He hit the line a lot better, Clint, this time in. But I'm not disagreeing he can go forward, but, you know.
Being an international owner, if I was an international owner and I had RS Dine and you wouldn't take any of those, I'd say, Shane, hold the 1-1.
Oh, really? And then Shane would go, well, you're legging me up because I'm the golden boy with 5 nicknames. I'll do what I want.
Can you see you can see the difficulty for Lucky Sweynesse, though, because he's got a couple underneath there and he doesn't step brilliantly, and all of a sudden the race can unfold early and he could be in a little bit of a trick spot.
Yeah, he could be too, but he is the best horse in the race, and he did pull up with Blood last start, so you can add a couple of links there for his win. He might pull up with Blood again this week, who knows?
Yeah.
But, you know, they've still got to beat him, Clint. He's going to be
and I've still got him favourite, 220 favourite, but I won't have him.
Won't get 220.
I'm not. Well,
yeah,
and I won't be on him.
Yeah, no chance.
He'll be $1.50 again, and I think it's a good race if you're watching to bet around him.
Well, I have been all season, so I've just got to keep the faith. Don't know, maybe Wellington can finally deliver for me, plus the others that Hutchi's mentioned. Hey, a little sideline. Zach Purton, if he's able to win, would be his 31st Northern Hemisphere Group 1 win. That would put him only 2 behind the great Ray Johnson back in the 40s and 50s as the greatest Australian jockey in the Northern Hemisphere from a Group 1 point of view. So he's getting awfully close to that target. So good luck to Zach as well. Let's go back a race if we can.
Yes.
Can we go back to race number 7, Hutch Buster, over 1,200 metres?
The last 4 races are really good races. Here's my selections and markets. This will be, I think, a great chance for Zach to add to his season tally on Gorgeous Wing. Clearly the horse to beat, got him marked $1.69, and I think it's really a 2-horse race. Enterprise Attack, who won on debut at the end of last season, withdrawn at his since intended start, trialled well, and outside of those I don't really think there's much in the race. I've got Goko Win, 80 light years. But this is an interesting race here because with Enterprise Attack, I tell you what, there are an absolute stack of winners to come out of this race. And Shane, we don't see too many horses.
Wow, look at that.
Horses come out on debut in Hong Kong and win. It was a wet track. This was the final meeting of the season, but Global Harmony, etc. And he did it in good style.
He won well, but he's come back and he's had problems, of course, Clint. Gorgeous win. I've got about $1.40. He'll be winning for sure, I'd say, Clint. There's only 4 chances and you spotted them. The rest probably can't win. He's been very impressive. He trialled really well the other day. He's got gate 3. He's going to get the right run. And it's a matter of enterprise attack, how well he is going. But you've got to remember he missed that run through a heart irregularity. And his trials have been okay, but nothing special. But he was very impressive first up, and it was a great form race, as you pinpointed. But I've got Gorgeous Win way in front, and he'll be winning easy, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that match fitness holds a lot in. I think Go Win can run okay, but Gorgeous Win, who's nicely drawn for Zach, looks a great chance for him and Danny Shum to keep themselves going. And there's really not much depth in the race, so.
Well, we've spoken to Lyle Hewitson, and he did suggest that race number 10 is a really open race. Hutch, just have a look at your thoughts over 1,400 metres for this Class 3.
Yeah, it's a really good race to finish the day with. And my favourite, the horse I have marked favourite, is Araki Summit, who's was really impressive. And this is a potential Derby horse as well, Araki Summit. So expecting him to run well. I think Green and White will strip a lot fitter. Fun Together's in brilliant form. Amazing Victory was unlucky last start. It doesn't end there. This is a really competitive race. It'll be partly price driven, or always price driven, but this was Araki Summit winning last time out. He went to another level, Richo. They bounced, they put him forward. He'd hinted that he was on the way towards putting in a performance like this, and he was dominant. He's the son of Tavistock. I think he's only going to get better. He's one of these Kiwi breds. Geez, we love to follow the Kiwi breds. They do
absolutely.
so well.
We're loyal to them.
We are loyal to them. And this is a horse that will jump from the outside gate, work across and run a big race. So expecting him to run well. For the Aussie fans or, racing watchers, Jamie Kah's got a decent chance on Master Fortune, who, Shane, I thought was... I know the pattern was on that way the last start, but I think it was just one of those horses, probably not best ridden, a bit handier. I think he's better given a chance early. Is that fair?
Well, there's 2 horses in this race that were ridden way too close last start, and he's one of them. I know it was an on-pace track, but he just didn't cope with it. He didn't go bad. He's got a good chance. And the other one, it was $2.10, I think, last start. I could be wrong, $2.10 or something, Green and White, and looked unbeatable. But he's got to be ridden off the pace. He was too close the other day. He was up third and he stopped. He weakened from the furlong and he looked very disappointing. In this race, he's going to go around $4 probably, or $5 or something now. And if Zach rides him a little bit quieter, he's going to be a different horse.
It's worth reading. Worth reading the Stewards report just with that race, Shane, because in the post-race thing, and you might be right with the ridden close, but in the Stewards report, I think the rider comment, and they took note of it, was that the horse really needed the run. It was got very tired late, so something to bear in mind anyway.
Who needed the run, sorry?
Green and White.
Okay, okay.
That's interesting. Who have you got on top?
Well, he was 57 days off a run going into that run.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at him, when he's ridden back a bit, he really hits the line, that horse, and he runs good times coming from off the pace. From gate 5, Zach can be anywhere. If he wants to be running second or third, he can be running second or third, but he's better off 5th, 6th, 7th. He's got a good chance. Okay. I think it's a very open race. I'm not disagreeing with Araki Summit. The problem you got with him, Clint, is I know he's going to come across from gate 13 looking at it, but there's a lot of pace here. E-Legend will go from gate 12. Amazing Duck's going to go from gate 10. So he's going to have to work coming across. And you've got Fun Together who goes forward and is racing extremely well, going a lot higher than I thought he would. And he's got gate 14. So you've got 4 of them from the outside that are really going to force the issue early.
Yep, there will be. And I don't think Araki Summit necessarily needs to lead, but you will need some luck in the early stages to find a spot. I don't want to see him go back. I think he's got that galloping action. He's going to want to increase the tempo.
There's a roughie in there that could go well.
Who's that?
Simba, the 3. Its trials have been very, very good, and it's got a new trainer. Gate 11 will get back and it will hit the line. I'm not saying it's going to win. The other horse also, number 2, Amazing Victory, he's racing well. He had no luck last start. And he really hit the line. And I know he's had, 4 unplaced runs this season, but he's actually going better than his form shows on paper, that horse. And from gate 2, he's going to get a good run midfield in a fast run race. He could hit the line.
Yeah, he's in Hutchi's top 4 there. Best bets time.
Yep, best bets. Let's run through them. And look, it's a really good meeting. I think you want the full set. Of course, get onto the website.
Simple as that.
But this would be the best at the meeting. Gorgeous win. I think it's a single Quinella, and it's really, even if, of course, the main danger is not fully wound up, Enterprise Attack, I think it looks a logical Quinella anyway, and I'd be happy to take it. So race 7, number 9, Gorgeous Win. Who knows what price he'll be, but he'll be pretty short. But Lucky With You, I'm having something on these two. Lucky With You on a win line. I'm backing Sunpack Fu. Please be positive, boys, or hold your spots. And then I'm having a Quinella, obviously Lucky Sweynesse with those two, because there will be some value potentially with Sunpack Fu, even if he does ride in quiet. He can still get home well. And Lucky With You is going to be a serious threat to Lucky Sweynesse this time around.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Golden Boy?
I thought last week was a very easy meeting, as I said on TV, and it ended up like that. I think this meeting's very difficult. I think most races are very open. I'm going to put a roughie, well, not a roughie, he'll be one of the favourites, but he hasn't placed all season. He's had 5 unplaced runs. Happy Daily. He's dropping to Class 4, and his last 2 runs have been a lot better. And he won last season off 62 and he's back to 59. Yui's on him, he'll sit back in the race. And I don't think there's a lot of chances in that race. You only got about 3 or 4, and he's going to come home down the outside late, and he's got a good chance.
Yeah, and for our Australian watchers as well that want to follow Jamie Kah on the day, I think her best ride is in race 3. She rides a last start winner called Second to None. It's number 2, and I think it looks a nice progressive horse for Jamie, who rides Packing Treadmill on the feature. It won't be far away, but that's her best ride, I think.
It should start favourite, that, Clint. It's not a very strong race. Gate 1, it's going to box seat. It can win again for sure. Definitely can win again.
If you're in Australia, hopefully you're watching us on 7plus and anywhere around the world. HutchiesHonkers.com, full analysis from the Hutch Buster, who's ready to rip apart the Sunday meeting, if you don't mind.
And can we get Shane's pronunciation of the Swahili word Ishivungu? Is there a chance we can finish off with that?
Which horse?
The South African horse in Ishivungu.
Ishivungu?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. See? Roll off the tongue.
I'm a natural.
No doubting that. Have a wonderful...
Hey, boys, I get my eye operated on in a week, this one. Maybe they should do my voice, because since my pronunciations and words have gone, maybe they could do something to that while they're looking inside this eye from the 4... What's that? 2006 it was. Maybe they can just change something in my mind that reminds me of horses.
Like the Bionic Woman.
You sound perfect, Shane. Don't change.
Let alone the Bionic Man. Hey, don't you ever change, because we're actually going to buy a horse and call it Lucky Sweynesse. That horse is going to be a superstar.
Yep.
Because of you.
It already is.
I hope you've enjoyed the show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do it all again next week.